How do you do?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Forgive my intruding. Tony, I want you to come home with me. Your mother is very upset.
Very well, Father. Goodbye, Alice.
Goodbye, Tony.
I need hardly say that this is as painful to Mrs. Kirby and myself as it is to you people. I'm sorry, but I'm sure you understand.
Well, yes, and in a way, no. Now, I'm not the kind of person who tries to run other people's lives. But the fact is, Mr. Kirby, I don't think that these two young people have got as much sense as you and I have.
Grandpa, will you please not do this?
I'm just talking to Mr. Kirby. A cat can look at a king, can't he?
You want me to do that for you, Alice? No thanks, Mother.
You've got quite a while before the train goes, Alice.
Will you send a cab to 761 Claremont right away, please? Yes, that's right. Thank you.
Alice.
Father.
Are you ready, Tony?
Mr. Kirby, I suppose you think that this family is kind of crazy.
No, I would not say that.
Hmm?
Although I'm not accustomed to going out to dinner and spending the night in jail.
Oh, well, you've got to remember, Mr. Kirby, that you came on the wrong night. Now, tonight, I'll bet you that nothing will happen at all. Maybe.
Mr. Vanderhoff, it was not merely last night that convinced Mrs. Kirby and myself that this engagement would be unwise.
Father, I can handle my own affairs. For the last time, Alice, will you marry me?
No, Tony. I know exactly what your father means, and he's right.
No, he's not.
Now, Alice, you're in love with this boy, and you're not marrying him because we're the kind of people we are.
Grandpa,
I know you think that the two families won't get along, but who's to say that they're right and we're wrong?
I didn't say that. I only think
Well,
that...
what I feel is that Tony is too nice a boy to wake up 20 years from now with nothing in his life but stocks and bonds.
How's that?
Yes, mixed up and unhappy, the way you are.
I beg your pardon, Mr. Vanderhoff. I am a very happy man.
Are you?
Certainly I am.
I don't think so. What do you think it gets your indigestion from? Happiness? No, sir. You get it because most of your time is spent doing things that you don't want to do.
I don't do anything I don't want to do.
Yes, you do. You said last night that after a week in Wall Street, you're pretty near crazy. Why do you keep on doing it?
Why do I keep on? Why, that's my business. A man can't just give up his business.
Why not? You've got all the money you need. You can't take it with you.
That's a very easy thing to say, Mr. Vanderhoff. But I've spent my entire life building up my business.
And what's it got you? Same kind of mail every morning, same kind of deals, same kind of meetings, same dinners at night, same indigestion. Where does the fun come in? Don't you think there ought to be something more, Mr. Kirby? You must have wanted more than that when you started out. You haven't got much time, you know. Any of us.
What do you expect me to do? Live the way you do? Do nothing?
I have a lot of fun. Time enough for everything. Read and talk and visit the zoo now and again, practice my darts, even have time enough to notice when spring comes around. Don't have to see anybody I don't want to. Don't have 6 hours of things I have to do before I get 1 hour to myself. And I haven't had bicarbonate of soda in 35 years. But what's the matter with that?
The matter with that?
Huh?
Suppose we all did. A fine world we'd have, everybody going to zoos. Don't be ridiculous, Mr. Vanderhoff. Who would do the work?
Well, there's always people who like to work. You can't stop them. Inventions, and they fly the oceans. And there's always people to go down to Wall Street, too, because they like it. But from what I've seen of you, Mr. Kirby, I don't think you're one of them. I think you're missing something.
I'm not aware of missing anything.
I wasn't either till I quit. Used to get down to that office, 9 o'clock sharp, no matter how I felt. Lay awake nights for fear that I wouldn't get that contract. I used to be worried about the world, too. Get all worked up about whether Cleveland or Blaine was going to be elected president. Seemed awful important at the time, but who cares now? What I'm trying to say, Mr. Kirby, is that I've got 35 years that nobody can take away from me, no matter what they do in the world, see?
Yes, I do see. And it's a very dangerous philosophy, Mr. Vanderhoff. It's un-American, and it's exactly why I'm opposed to this marriage. I don't want Tony to come under its influence.
What's the matter with it, Father?
The matter with it? Why, it's downright communism, that's what it is.
You didn't always think so.
I most certainly did. What are you talking about?
I'll tell you what I'm talking about. You didn't always think so because there was a time when you wanted to be a trapeze artist.
Why don't be an idiot, Tony?
Oh, yes, you did. I came across those letters you wrote to Grandfather. Do you remember those?
No, how dare you read those letters? How dare you?
Mr. Kirby, that's wonderful. Did you wear tights?
Now, the whole thing is absurd. I was 14 years old at the time.
Yes, but at 18 you wanted to be a saxophone player. Didn't you?
Tony!
And at 21 you ran away from home because Grandfather wanted you to go into the business. It's all down there in black and white. You didn't always think so.
I may have had silly notions in my youth, but thank God my father knocked them out of me. I went into the business and forgot about them.
Not altogether, Father. There's still a saxophone in the back of your clothes closet.
There it is.
That's enough, Tony. We'll discuss this later.
No. I want to talk about it now. I think Mr. Vanderhoff is right. Dead right. I'm never going back up in that office. I've always hated it, and I'm not going on with it. I'll tell you something else. I didn't make a mistake last night. I brought you here on purpose. Why? Because I wanted to wake you up. I wanted you to see a real family as they really were. A family that loved and understood each other. You never understood me. You never had time. Well, I'm not going to make your mistake. I'm clearing out.
Clearing out? What do you mean?
I mean, I'm not going to be pushed into the business just because I'm your son.
But what are you going to do?
I don't know. Maybe I'll be a bricklayer. But at least I'll be doing something I want to do.
That must be the cab.
Tell him to wait a minute, Ed.
Grandpa.
You mind, Alice? Mr. Kirby, Tony is going through just what you and I did when we were his age. I think if you listen hard enough, you can hear yourself saying the same things to your father 25 years ago. We all did it, and we were right. How many of us would settle while we're young for what we eventually get? All of those plans, what happens to them? It's only a few of the lucky ones that can look back and say that they even came close. So before they clean out that closet, Mr. Kirby, I think you ought to get a few good hours on that saxophone.
I beg your pardon, but before I make the blintzes, how many will there be for dinner?
May I present Mr. Anthony Kirby and Mr. Kirby Jr., the Grand Duchess Olga Katrina.
How's that?
How do you do? Now, before I make the blintzes, how many will there be for dinner?
Might as well make a whole stack of them. You can't ever tell.
Good. The Tsar always said to me, Olga, do not be stingy with the blintzes. No.